everyone, good evening. I am very excited tonight to have two very lovely people with me. I'll allow them to introduce themselves and then I'll talk a little bit about who they are. So first, the gentleman in the snazzy suspenders.
Hi, my name is Dov Newmark. As you can tell by my accent, I'm British. Sorry about that, but all is good.
We have a lot of UK viewers, so we have people from the UK who will listen to you and they'll understand you. Not to worry.
Great.
And then the beautiful lady over there with the lovely hat.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Carla. I am American, but I am wearing my British fascinator. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to wear one if we're talking about the royal family.
So thank you very much. So Carla brought up the topic for tonight and segued into that beautifully for me. It's almost like we work together quite often, Carla.
Yeah. People can check out on YouTube our past shows called Chatter with Carla and Ninoska.
Exactly.
They're really fun.
And we do the theater together, which we always have a great time at it. So, but the idea of this evening is Carla is a big, as so am I, fan of the British royal family. And Dov is, as far as I'm concerned, our community resident authority. And I wanted to just...
On everything or just the royal family?
I think on the royal family, yes,
okay.
On the royal family. Yeah, let's stop there on the royal family. And I wanted to just have a conversation about the royal family and a lot of different things that have been coming up in the news recently and history a little bit. But first, Dov, I would love for you to tell us about your porch, which was one of the first times that I was introduced to you. What did you do to your front porch and when was it?
That was a crazy story. In fact, because of that event, I was then known as the Queen's representative in Modi'in. We made Sheva Brachot for Prince William, which was, when we decided to do it, we thought we'd have a little tea with scones. But then more and more people got excited about the idea. And then we decided to do Friday night, because they got married on the first Friday after Pesach. So a lot of leading time for this. We had 226 people for a 3-course sit-down meal. And we did it as a street party. Now, England it prides itself on these street parties for royal events. Yeah. So we tried to recreate a British street party in the streets of Modi'in. And it worked really well. In fact, it worked so well, the news wires got hold of it. Reuters got hold of it. And before we knew it, we had film crews, camera crews that wanted to be part of it. But this is Friday night. So we had to, after speaking to the Rav, we arranged that we would do early Shabbat and they would film up to the beginning of Shabbat. And they were very, very respectful. And then they left. It made it to the newspapers around the world. Someone contacted me from Canada saying, I understand you're doing a street party. There was one newspaper that advertised the event and said that they are giving out free fish and chips during the day. I didn't know anything about this until we had people from Rehovot and Renana turn up while we're starting the fish and chips. So
I did not know that part of the story.
They did leave disappointed because, as you said, we decorated one of our balconies and we made it like the balcony of Buckingham Palace. We had a red piece of material around the front of it, and we had a life-size cardboard cutout of the official engagement photograph of Prince William and Kate. Okay, so we had the porch, we had the red piece of material when we put them up there, and we had some bunting around it. So what we were able to offer them, not free fish and chips, but a photograph with the royal couple, which they went away happy. It was great. It was great. I
distinctly remember, Dov, that no Americans were invited.
So it wasn't that no Americans were invited. They had to have a British interest, whether it was a spouse or in the UK. We did have a few. We did have a few gate crashers that didn't have a British connection, but it was okay. and the whole street got behind it. My neighbor's garage, we had trestle tables and hot plates. They had all the food. Another neighbor's, we had washing stations. Another one opened up for toilets. It was great. And then we had another neighbor that we also used their balcony, because obviously mine was being taken, where we had a Dvar Torah. And who did we get to give the Dvar Torah? Rabbi Warren Kay, because he has the same initials as the Chatan and Carla.
That's fun. That's fun. Does he know that's why you asked him?
Yes.
Oh, okay. He's
Does have a
qualified or
British
anything.
connection as well.
Wow.
But no, it was really great. In fact, that's the first time that we had a interaction with our now Machatonim, the Zaxes, Aviva and Aria Zax, because they were walking to shul and saw all of this, and they thought, what is going on? And they heard that Ayara and I had put it on, and they said, we got to invite these people. So they did.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wait, and that's how your kids met?
That's how we met them, and through us meeting them, our kids met, and now we share grandchildren.
Wow, wow, what a nice story. Whose names are George and Charlotte?
Not mine.
I'm just saying they could be if you were really.
They could be. Well, that is fantastic. I love that so much.
Token tea.
Well, I have to say, I'm not drinking tea. It's just hot water with lemon, but it's close. Okay. So
just stick your pinky out and it'll be like
hold my pinky.
Yeah, it's not so easy to do with such a big cup. It's so not. There is an art to it. Yeah. I didn't go to finishing school.
There we go, something like that. So I absolutely love that, and you kept it up for several days afterwards. And I remember every time I drove down the block and saw it, it was just spectacular, and I loved it so much. So that's how I was introduced to Dov and his family. Anyway, but Dov, as a person who loves, and Carla, I have no British connection really. Do you have any?
I have no British connection. I've been there, and I love the royal family. And the day of the William and Kate's wedding, I went to a viewing party in, I think it was Cafe Greg or something like that. Yeah. They were offering a breakfast plus the viewing party.
Oh, wow.
And so we were there up on a big screen, and I was there with 3 of my friends, and one of my friends' mother is British. So we kept calling her to find out who the people were, because they weren't really putting their names underneath, they weren't so clear in that. So we got a crash course that day on who's who in the royal family. And we've been hooked ever since. Wow.
I have to say that I remember back in the day, I actually watched Charles and Diana's wedding live, which was on Shabbat, if I'm not mistaken. But back in that when I was a little kid, like we weren't Shomer Shabbos, so it was from then that I just was like, wow. And the love affair started. And, I'm a library child, so I researched everything and looked into everything. And I remember all the little facts and details and stuff like that. So for me, it's been a real love affair for the longest time with the royal family.
Talking about Diana. Yeah. Her Levaya was also on a Shabbos.
Yeah.
And
was it a Levaya or did she die on a Shabbat?
Yeah, she passed away. For us, it was Saturday night, I think, in America.
No, the funeral, the actual funeral was on a Saturday. Was on a Saturday, and I at the time used to take children's service in Western Marble Arch. Yeah, and the whole funeral procession went through the West End of London and out until where she was buried. Wow. So walking back from shul, I couldn't walk on the pavements because they were full of people behind these barriers, and the police were in the road. Obviously, the cars had been stopped, or they were stopping the cars. So I ended up having to walk home from shul in the road in front of all these barriers. And I got to Finchley. Literally, as I was entering Finchley, that's when the motorcade passed me, and they said, "Would you mind going onto the pavement, sir?"
That's pay your respects as well.
That was the closest I got to Diana.
Wow. Wow.
Have you ever met a royal?
Sorry? No, I have met other members of the royal family.
Oh, who?
Yes. In fact, the only royal that is that has only been married the once and has never divorced?
Wait, let me think. No.
The Queen has 4 children.
No, I know who it is. It's whatchamacallit. It's
Yeah,
no.
Didn't you just say the royal who's never divorced?
Yeah.
The royal has 4 kids.
Okay,
The
so
Queen-
one of the
Queen.
kids.
The
So
Queen
there's-
has 4 kids. 3 of them have been divorced.
yeah,
And there's
okay,
only
so
one.
it's
Edward
Edward. No, not is his name. No, not it's a
or
young
Andrew. Which one is the bad one?
Yes, Edward. Is it
It's
Edward?
Edward. Edward and Sophie.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Edward and Sophie, exactly.
Edward and Sophie, the Earl and Countess of Wessex.
Yeah.
So they opened a building that I was the campaign director. And they were our guests of honor to open the building. So there was quite a lot of interaction in the pre-opening reception and then during the reception as well. I have a very nice photograph of the 3 of us.
She
That's
is
nice.
she is actually one of the busiest working royals, along with Anne. And I think like the number of her engagements has, I think it's, well, there was a point where did it already surpass Kate's number of engagements?
So that I don't know.
Yeah, so I think that it has. She's very, very busy and she's very like much loved. And she actually has, according to like all of the Daily Mail and all of the tabloids there, the most perfect curtsy. They said that hers is considered by far the angle and the position and everything. She's like acclaimed for her curtsy, you know, that it's spot on. So that's interesting because I wanted to talk about them, and I will talk much later because, you know, I think that Carla and I both want to like bring in the whole Meghan thing, but we'll talk about that later. But one thing is that Sophie, Fergie, and Andrew have had their share of controversy and you know, incidents. You know, Sophie was recorded you know, saying to someone when she was still working something, you know, promising favors in terms of royal connection. She was actually caught on tape, as was Fergie, at various points, you know, trying to use that. But this is before she became a working royal. This is when she was still working, but she was married. And now all of a sudden everybody loves her and she's like perfect. And she's like, you know, you can't say anything bad about her. So I almost feel like, you know, if Meghan had like waited it out, you know, had a little bit more, you know, backbone, she may have gotten to that point, because they all were written about very poorly.
I must look, I think Meghan and Harry is a very different situation. You know, Harry is a fun, outgoing individual that is never going to see the throne.
Yeah.
Okay, so his 6th in line at the moment.
Yeah.
That's on the basis that William doesn't have any more kids, and George doesn't get married and have any kids.
Yeah.
So that number 6 is only going to get bigger and bigger.
Higher and higher. Exactly.
So his theory is, let's enjoy life.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy life. Why do I need to toe the line? I'll make a life for myself. He's hooked up with this American actress that he's madly in love with. And
do you think they're madly in love?
I think so.
I have no reason not to believe that.
I mean, that's obviously what they're presenting to the world, but
well, what do you think? What do you think, Carla?
Before.
You don't think that they're madly in love?
I don't know that they're madly in love. That's what they're presenting to the world. And I don't know, there's something about her that makes me feel like he's just under her influence, and something about her that rubs me the wrong way. But
I agree with you that sorry, go on.
He's given up a lot. He's given up a lot to be with her. And on the flip side, she's also given up a lot for moving away from the royal family and the royal duties. So
what do you mean she's giving up a lot? It doesn't seem like she ever wanted to do that.
She could have had a really cushy job, you know, being involved in the you know, biggest family in the UK.
And
Number
doing
one.
more of her, and doing so much more of her charity work, because she's so much into charities and like doing charities and all these connections. So I think that there was a vested interest for her to have continued in the royal family. So on the one hand, I do hear what you're saying. I think that she did give up something. But Carla, I just want to say something. When you say that he's wrapped around her finger, or whatever it is, what I agree with you, but I think that is almost like what tends to happen when a man falls madly in love with someone. Like his wife becomes, you know, before we started, your lovely wife entered the room and we all said hello to her, and you're like, this is my queen. And that's exactly what it is, because when a man leaves his house to marry a wife, then she becomes the center of the world, of his world. So I think that, yeah, in that way, and whether she's,
I agree, unless
advantage.
Right, unless she's totally taking away his identity and taking him totally away from his family. I mean, I do think, you know, she is his priority, but on the other hand, she can allow him to be with his family also and continue in his royal duties, but she did not want to do that. Now, whether she tried and they weren't very welcoming, or the media really like ripped her apart, maybe she tried and she just couldn't handle it. That could be. But I just feel like right now, you know, this caused a major rift in the royal family, and they're having a hard time now.
I mean, I firmly believe that she knew exactly what she was letting herself into.
Yeah.
Well, yes and no.
Marrying into.
Yes and no. I mean, I think that she knew, because you watch one episode of The Crown and you know what goes into being a royal. I don't understand why she didn't know how to curtsy when she was first meeting the Queen. I don't know why she thought she didn't have to, all those crazy stories. But once you get there, it's a whole different ballgame. And I don't know how well they treated her. And I don't know how well they treated Diana. And look what happened there. So I think maybe she just needed to get out of there. And she needed to live her own life after she saw what it entailed. Whether that was a good decision or not is, you know, not up to me, but I think
Dov, you said that
they could have had a balance.
Yeah. Dov, you said that Harry is like, you know, happy, and he's a happy-go-lucky, happy type of individual. He's presented himself that way from what we know. We all don't know him. No one knows him personally. But I think that that he was especially sensitive to the emotional, you know, what she was going through because of his mother, you know, and that played into his decision. And this boy, he was 12 years old when he lost his mom in a very traumatic way. And he just, you know, wouldn't want to have anyone that he cares about have to relive that type of experience. And I think it was like almost like post-traumatic syndrome or whatever you call it, where all of a sudden like history was repeating itself for him, and so he made very
this could have been his way out.
Yeah, like you said, maybe he wanted that all along.
Right.
I think I take like I have an issue with how I guess the Oprah interview. I think that really we discovered a lot of new things about Meghan there that I didn't know. And I feel like, if I understand correctly, when they first left, they went to British Columbia so that they would still be part of the
Commonwealth
Kingdom, right? And apparently their address was found out. So for security reasons, they had to move. So she knew LA, so they moved to LA. But I was under the impression that
their security was taken away at the same time. They weren't, their bodyguards were taken away and their financial support. And that happened.
Right. But I think they had their private security. Right. I think they're just private security, right? Like they had their own that they paid for.
They didn't. They didn't
have any security.
They didn't have any security. It had just been taken away when the address was discovered. So they were in a house, unprotected. No one was paying security. The security left, and that's why they went to LA.
Right. So that's all okay until she starts, bad mouthing the royal family. There's
Yeah.
no need for that. There's no need to bad mouth them, to air your dirty laundry. I mean, it's
I
just,
know.
I don't know.
What's the feeling? I mean, again, we're putting you on the spot, Dov, because you're like representing all of the UK for us here. But I'm a little bit more like, really that interview. I mean, I learned things, and don't get me wrong, I watched the whole thing. I'm not beneath having watched it. I watched it, but I was like, oh, did we really have to do that? We all know things didn't go well, and yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the interview. I get how she wanted to say, if they wanted to share their side
of truth.
What is the consent? What is the feeling in England about that interview, or your friends or people that you know? What do you think about the interview?
Look, I thought she played to the cameras. It was great for her image, great for her profile. Diana also did a very telling interview.
Yes.
It's a way of getting the media to hear your story, and that the world are going to want to listen to it. I guess prior to that interview, she felt that she didn't really have a voice and nobody was hearing her side, and this was a way of her. And it was an open door, because if she has any interview, because of who she is, and you got to strike while the iron's hot, she'll get an audience. Mm-hmm. And it had the effect that I think they wanted to have. Mm-hmm. Whether it was right or wrong, and the content of it, but that's what gets viewers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, so what's the thing? Are they in it now to make a lot of money? Because now they have contracts with Netflix, contracts with Spotify. They are re-releasing a book that's going to include the fallout from Oprah's interview in August. So is it just about money? Is it about hearing their side? Is it about all of it?
I don't know. They have a lifestyle that they need. He has a lifestyle that he needs to maintain. This man has never worked a day. He's a working royal. Let me rephrase that. But he's never punched in 9 to 5 in an office. And there is a lifestyle that he is used to. And it is my understanding that he is no longer receiving any funding from the British government through his as a working royal. In addition to which, he's not receiving any funding from Charles, who is one of the richest men in England, the duchy of Cornwall and everything. He has so much money. He's not paying any money to supporting his son, and they're cut off. And Meghan has a little bit of money from Suits. Okay, she was successful, but it's not like a Marvel movie. She's not, she wasn't making billions of dollars. So now they have an image to maintain, and they need to make money.
And they have a name. They have a name which sells products.
Yeah.
And anything they put their name to, they sell.
Yeah.
And they're using it they're springboarding now onto a business venture where they will do very well for themselves purely because of their name.
Yeah.
Just like the David Beckham and Victoria Beckham name.
Yeah. Look, I wish them luck, and I hope in my heart, I really feel that there might be a day where there might be some sort of reconciliation where they can move back to England. That's my dream. I had a friend of mine, a British friend of mine, said, no way, they would kick her out of the country. Everyone hates her there. And I'm like, okay, I guess she's not going back as far as you're concerned. Who knows? You never know.
Yeah, I don't think she needs to move back to England. I don't necessarily think, but they could visit together and be welcomed, and they could have appearances together. I hope that happens one day also.
Well, that segues, sorry.
Look, she wanted to come for the Leviathan.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
On her doctor's orders, because she's pregnant.
Yeah. On her doctor's orders.
Okay, Carla, she's very pregnant. She's due any day.
I traveled in my 8th month of pregnancy overseas. That's fine. That's not a big deal.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I just think that I think many British people are glad that she did not come, because whatever it was, it would take attention away.
It would have taken away. It would have been that whole thing. Yeah. Every every angle that she turned her face or every look, everything, it would have been like, oh, she's staring down this person, staring. So it's for the best. But yeah, so I mean, that brings me to Phillip and
Yes, Brooke dynamic.
Exactly. He was the really the consort for the queen. Like, she has had him by her side her entire reign to date. You know,
They were married for 5 years prior to her taking
exactly. So her entire reign.
He lived in her shadow.
Yeah.
What was it, 73, 75 years?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he died 62 days before he's going to get a telegram from her.
On his 100th birthday. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, look, he did his duty, and I think that there was, like, first of all, these Windsors, they love, and they love hard, is my opinion. Like, when they fall in love, they fall in love. She fought for him. Victoria fought for Albert. You know, Charles did what he did for Camilla. Edward abdicated for, what's her name? Wallace. And now Harry's run off with Meghan.
Well, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but
but I will.
I feel like, did we not think that Phillip was, you know, not the greatest husband sometimes?
I'm sure he may have strayed, and there was a time where socially things were a little bit different. And I think that it's hard being a man when your wife is the queen and you have to, like.
No, say your wife's got the top job in the country. You're literally in your mid-20s, and you realize that, I mean, he also gave up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was.
What did he give up? He could do anything that he wanted.
Right, but he was never going to be king because.
Okay, aside from being king, I'm also never going to be king. So what else could he not do? He could do everything he wanted.
No, he couldn't. Like, he couldn't, for example, go off and, like, I don't know, go into aviation or everything that he did in his earlier days. I think that there was a certain code and people protected him. But then as time changed and things were just out in the open, he had to watch every single thing that he did because he was representing the queen, no matter what he did. You know, he wasn't just free to do whatever.
It seemed like that didn't bother him. It seemed like that wasn't a concern of his. You know, listen, I'm getting most of my information from the Crown and tabloids, okay? None of which are reliable. We get that. But it seems that he just did whatever he wanted. He spoke about whatever he wanted. He was racist sometimes, and he made remarks that were inappropriate.
I think that was later on in life. That was later on in life. And bless him, you know, I mean, he still had most of his marbles at the age of 99. But there were occasions where he did say things that were inappropriate. And I think it was more because of age rather than sentiments, to be honest.
It also could be like a generational thing. I don't know. So
he did break royal protocol when he visited he visited Israel.
Yeah.
To see mum.
Yeah.
To see his mother.
He was the first royal to visit Israel.
Yeah.
First, to acknowledge it and
his mother did save Jews in the Holocaust, so that's also very nice.
Yeah. So
that's good.
So, well, I feel bad for the queen. You know, I really do. She's like, I don't know how, you know, if they like had shared a room or slept in the same bed or any of that stuff, you know. But it's her buddy. That's her companion. That was her like best friend. That was the person that she could say anything to, I'm sure. You know, she could say anything to him about the children. She could say anything to him about her job or whatever else was irking her. And now that's gone.
Yeah.
It is gone. Go ahead,
and
Joe.
It's not easy to lose your spouse. I mean, she turned 95 last week on the 21st of April. I mean, it's not bad to be 95 and burying your spouse.
Right.
You know, I mean,
5 years.
You know, please God buy us all.
But anyway, there was a sadness to it, and you know, it's.
But he does leave an amazing legacy. I mean, I know he lived in the shadow of the Queen, But there's this whole Duke of Edinburgh Awards that he set up for underprivileged youth. It started in the UK, now it's gone international. And this is a legacy that will carry on for years, generations.
Yeah.
This was something that he was passionate about. So
right.
although
he definitely did a lot of good things.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I don't think we're like, I don't think we're, like you said, I don't think we're like polishing up something that was scruffy. I think that he was a nicely polished individual. I think that in the years that he had, he really grew. He grew into the role, and I think he was an asset to her and an asset to the crown, I believe, my opinion, at the end of the day, because not very many people could be second fiddle to someone like that,
Right. And also for so many years that the Queen has reigned, for her popularity to sort of stay positive,
amazing,
over such a long period of time, is incredible. And because it was very much a team effort.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
So let me ask you a question. Can I ask Dov a question? And you, Natasha?
Yeah.
Don't you think that, I've heard that a lot of British people are like, oh, come on with these royals already. Like, they don't really do anything, and our tax money goes to them. And let's just, in 20 years, when all like the Queen generation dies, let's just get rid of them. Is that something that you've heard?
You've always got your anti-royalists and your royalists. You have that in all camps. I think as far as tourism goes for the UK, it's a huge amount of money that comes in through tourism because of the royal family. Try getting a ticket to go and view Buckingham Palace when they open up in the summer. For love of money, you can't. People come from all around the world because they like the royal family, because they like the pageantry and the changing of the guard and all those events surrounding trooping of the colour and everything. It brings in a lot of money.
And I think more people support it as opposed to the ones that are not supporting it. And I think some of the compromises that have been made, like with Charles, for example, in that it goes back to the whole Harry thing, because it was clearly being orchestrated so that that it's William and Kate and everyone else.
Hang on, we got to get through Charles first.
Well, yeah. See that? What do you think? What do you think? Do you think that? Someone said to me, he will never set it aside. He's waiting. Even if he gets 10 years in, he's gonna be king for 10 years. I feel sorry for him in a way. He's like 75 years old, right, or something like that, and he's never been king. He's still waiting.
We all want our parents to live and be well to 120, but come on, he's been waiting for this top job. He is the longest serving heir to the throne in British history, right? Who would have thought that his mother at 95 would still be going strong? She did a public engagement today. It's just crazy. So he ain't giving up. He's been wanting the top job for years. And I can't see him sidestepping it. Although, as far as the popularity would go, if William was to become king, the popularity for the royal family would soar. I think this will have a huge knock on the popularity rating, because if you had a choice between Charles and William, I think William would get the vote. But that's the way the royal family works. He will be a king, and she won't be queen. He will be king.
I heard that he's going to make Camilla queen consort. Part of this when they got married.
Princess consort, not queen.
Princess consort.
That's what they agreed at the wedding, and they haven't differed from that. She will be princess consort.
Okay. Well, I heard that she's very popular and that people love her now.
I think people have warmed to her, but nothing like William and Kate.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Because even though I love the Queen, and long live the Queen, I love her.
First of all,
But
when she passes, I think I'm gonna actually be gutted. I really am. Like
I don't even want to talk about it.
I know, and we're Americans, Dove. We're Americans. Maybe we're crazy, but that's besides the point.
A little bit, for sure. Yeah, but I can't help thinking that she caused a lot of problems in her family by being so rigid. I do think she had everyone's best intention, or the country's best intention at heart. But it kind of, with Charles, it kind of seems like she messed up with that.
Yeah.
That she made him marry Diana.
But she was a product of the times. Those were the times, even at that point. Back then.
But it happened with her sister, and she saw what a mess she made out of that. And it happened with her son, and it doesn't seem like she should be interfering. She should know better, I mean, she has to interfere at some level because she's the queen and it is the royal family. But I don't know what was wrong with Camilla in the first place.
Well, she was
already married.
No. Before she got married, she was vetoed because she didn't come. She wasn't she was not aristocrat. Aristocrat. She wasn't an aristocrat.
But it's the tradition of the royal family, and she didn't follow traditional protocol.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a shame.
That's why she was vetoed. But I think because she made those mistakes, I think that's why she was so lenient with Harry, and she wasn't going to say no to him. He married a divorced American.
Right. And thank goodness she let him. Because would she have let William? I don't know.
Well, she let him marry a commoner.
Right. So she was changing with the times.
Yeah.
Look, she definitely hasn't had a lot of nachas from her children and grandchildren. Let's not kid ourselves, So it hasn't been easy, but I doubt whether she made it easy either.
But she still has a good relationship with Anne. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like
working royal.
Yeah,
right.
Right. Anne has done more working things than William and the Queen. She's the hardest.
And the Queen?
Yeah.
Not the Queen.
She's yes. Anne has
per year? She has more royal engagements?
More royal engagements. That's the word I'm looking for. Yes. She's had more royal engagements because she's taken on a lot of the things that the Queen, because she's older, has not been able to do. No,
she's definitely taken a step back, but she's the Queen, but she's still doing, certain public engagements that she is very well connected to.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I love the Queen. I love her. I love the whole thing. But I also didn't, I love Kate, and I just felt that I know that the policy of the Buckingham Palace and everything is not to address every little thing that comes out and every little story. But I just felt that they could have handled the whole Meghan, Kate, all this stuff a little bit better. There should have been something. I know that their thing is we're not going to, address it, because once we start addressing every little thing, then it's like a slippery slope. But I don't recall ever seeing something that just plainly said that there is no merit to these rumors. Everyone is fine. Leave us alone.
Maybe because it wasn't true.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Or did that ever stop them before from making a statement? I don't know.
That's true. That is true. So
I did into it.
I don't know, but your press was not fair to Meghan in very many ways, and we're not blaming you personally, Dov, but really we're not.
A little bit we are. Yeah. No, I mean, it seems like, remember when in the Oprah interview, when she came out and she wanted to set the record straight that she did not make Kate cry before her wedding. She herself cried before the wedding. No. And she said afterwards that she just needed to clear that up because the press was all over her about that.
Yeah, but
and she
Oprah
just felt like that's not fair.
Oprah asked the question. Meghan didn't volunteer it.
Okay, but I'm sure Oprah was prepped beforehand about what she could and could not ask.
Oprah said that she was not prepped and that she was not told what to ask, and she was told that she could ask anything.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yes.
So there you go.
She said it before the interview began, like the very beginning. She said, listen, just so you know, we're agreeing, and they all agreed to it on camera. So the only thing that really bothered me the absolute most was, and I think I'm more sensitive because I am Latin, I'm a Latina, I'm Hispanic, and I was very bothered by the whole color thing. Whether they were asking.
Tell me what bothered you about it. What bothered you about
that
it?
People were concerned that the baby would come out brown. And I'll tell you this, I was at a friend's house who they are English, and their young child, this is before when she was pregnant, made a comment at the Shabbos table, and the child was young enough that this is not something that they would think of on their own. They must have clearly heard this and was copying. And the child said, well, we're all a little concerned if the baby's going to come out black or something like that. And I'm like, and that was said to me. And I'm like, know your audience.
Yeah.
I'm like 10. I'm like brown, I'm like, I'm not brown, but
But let me ask you a question. Scott. When you were pregnant with your 4 children, your husband is light, you're dark. Did you not have those discussions also?
Not at all.
Didn't you?
And not at all. Not at all.
Did you not? Okay, well, we discovered, we talked about hair color.
And the red, talked about
like that.
But that's the context that you're asking about, like, oh, they're going to have dark hair. That was something that was very specific to an ethnicity. Like, it's saying, we're concerned that this baby is going to be brown and we're going to have a brown royal baby in the house. That's a problem. And
I was so hoping for that. I was hoping
I would have loved.
I'm hoping the girl.
He was mocha colored because it would have been absolutely gorgeous. I think she's stunning, personally. Yeah. But I don't know. I just that was the only thing that bothered me and sort of got me a little bit on her side more. I'm not for or against. I'm very like parv about it. I'm like, oh, I get. Sometimes I'm upset, sometimes I'm not. But that was the one thing that really genuinely upset me, that someone asked her that. It just.
I think everyone was talking about it. We don't know the context, but I think everyone was wondering, everyone was talking about it. And I don't think it's such a terrible question to ask.
I think you say that and take this for what it is. I think you say that as a white privileged person. I don't play the race card, but I do have to say, I grew up and I'm Latin and I'm Jewish. I've got 2 strikes against me. People who don't know what it is to have a little of ethnicity in you don't know what it is to walk into a store and have people follow you just because you look a certain way. Never stole, had money, not a problem. But yeah, so I think
the time to address that was before they got married, because they knew they were going to have kids.
For sure.
So I think this was just, they're already married. I think this was just a curiosity thing. I really do.
I don't think I don't know. I don't think it came from a good place of, oh, I wish like how we said it. We wish it came out like a beautiful, like, caramel colored, gorgeous baby. I don't think the comment was, oh, it's going to be gorgeous. It's going to have a beautiful tan skin. I think it was like, oh, we hope the baby's not too dark. And that's never okay. I don't know, but that's coming from how I see the world. And I can only judge the comment, what she said in that through my eyes. That's the one thing that was like, that's really not okay. The avocado toast and all the other comments that were made against her. I'm like, they're idiots, the newspaper. I saw Notting Hill, and they don't treat the newspapers. The tabloids are very bad in England.
Right.
Poor Dov. Dov is like, I'm not touching this. I'm staying here. Come on,
Dov, what do you have to say?
What do you got to say?
It was definitely an unfortunate comment that was made. But the bottom line was there was a probability. I sort of agree with Carla. There was a probability. And I think people were talking about it because wouldn't it be funny? Or wouldn't it be ironic if, so I think it's a legit conversation to have.
No, sure.
Because the end result could have been very different. And I don't think the child would have been loved any less, but that's my opinion. Yeah. And it was a conversation. And these are the sort of conversations that people have in the pub over a pint of beer. And it's all legit. But when it comes from a royal, it's a no. It was unfortunate. Yeah. It was unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I agree with Carla that, you know, it must have been a conversation husband and wife would have prior to getting married or prior to wanting to start a family. Not that they're not going to have a family, but these are the things you talk about.
No, as a husband and wife, okay, but not as someone coming to them while she's pregnant, representing, you know, she said a higher up person and just saying, right. We're concerned.
Didn't we learn that it was Anne? Didn't we learn it was Anne who said it?
We did. I did not get that information. No.
I think. Okay, I don't want to speak badly of her if it's not true.
Well, then, if it was,
it wasn't the king.
We know it wasn't the queen. It wasn't Phillip. If it was Anne, I would tend to say she's, from what I read, like very like blunt and has a little bit of Philip's like brassiness to her. Then it could have probably just been said in like an insensitive, like passing remark, not like I'm genuinely concerned. Yeah. So you see, that's interesting. Knowing that it could be Anne sort of changes my perspective on it. Like, you know, she speaks her mind, from what I understand. But again, I'm only getting this stuff from magazines, The Crown, movies.
Yeah.
So now, what do you think about The Crown, Dov? Have you watched it?
No, I've watched it. Look, it was great. It was a drama series.
Yeah.
They took a storyline and they dramatized it. It was very, very well put together. Mm-hmm. But you have to take the fiction, you know. But no, it was great. It was great. I enjoyed it. Binge watched it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, loved it. What about the fact that Meghan might have lied during the interview? That maybe Piers Morgan caught her in a lie, that she said that they got married the day before privately, and then they found out that was not in fact true. The Archbishop said that wasn't true. Have we heard this?
Oh, I haven't.
I heard it.
I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard that either.
She told Oprah that she was, you know, a little bit overwhelmed with the thought of getting married in front of everyone. So they kind of wanted to have their own private ceremony the day before. And so they got the Archbishop, and the three of them just had their own private ceremony and were officially married then. And then the next day was just for show. But then people discovered, and they asked the Archbishop, and he said that that's not the case.
Even if that was the case, I don't know that he could then acknowledge that, because.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure if it was him. You're right. I'm not sure if it was him who said it wasn't true.
Yeah.
But they found out that possibly it wasn't true, and then that took away her credibility for, I guess, the whole interview, because if she lied about that,
Harry was there during that part of the thing. He didn't like say no. I mean, maybe they had like private, like, I'll take you, like she meant in her heart that they.
Right.
And Dov, you haven't heard anything about that?
No. I haven't. I wasn't privy to that. Mm-hmm. May have been during one of their final dress rehearsals.
I'm not looking forward to the Queen's passing, obviously. Not at all. I hope that she's 120, and she just.
And 6 months. Because we don't like sudden deaths. And 6 months, because we don't like sudden deaths.
And I wish that they would just skip over Charles and go to William, but that's like
that's not happening.
It's not going to happen. I know. But this is why I think she has said, like, she goes, Hashem, you gotta let me live a long time, because I cannot have Charles have a long reign. Like every day, she's got to live one more day. That's one more day less than Charles is going to be, in Charles.
Look, he's going to be 73 in November. So he's no spring chicken.
No, he's not.
Right. When Kate and William take over, it'll be like the era of Camelot. Like, it'll all be perfect and happy, as it should be, because they should be like a fairy tale that we all want to live, and that's how it should be. So I hope that happens.
It will happen. It will happen.
Yeah.
Just a matter of when.
It will.
As he outlives us all. Who knows?
I'm looking forward to it. I think that they will be great. I think that Kate is very much like what Phillip was to the Queen, in that she is supportive and understands her role. And I mean, but she had a lot of time to prepare herself for this. Not only did she grow up in England, but she was in those circles and she dated him forever.
Yeah, the two of them will grow into that role of being king and queen. And,
yeah,
they will be great ambassadors.
I think so. I absolutely agree. I think that they will be. They left. So any passing thoughts, commentary on the royal family, Dov? Anything that as you English person that you would like to share with the Americans here that love?
The Americans love the royal family. Yeah. I think they've still got a huge role to play. I don't think anytime soon we're going to see the end of the royal family.
Good.
I think the Queen's still got a few good years in her. 95, going strong, walks unaided, has a great medical team. She's out there doing engagements. So I think we've got a few more years with Her Majesty. Yeah, I'm fairly positive.
Carla.
And also, Britain is what it is because of the royal family. I mean, if we didn't have the royal family, what would there be in the UK? Tourists aren't going to come for the weather.
The fish and chips.
Not so great.
But yeah, you're right. It actually creates a huge tourist industry. I know that I would go just to visit a lot of these places. And so yeah, I never thought of it that way. And Carla?
And I think without even being asked, that it's also a nationalistic. I feel like it brings the nation together. It's been thousands of years of tradition to have royalty and to have a kingdom. And how could they even let that go? That's such a beautiful tradition to have in their country. And like you said, we'll still get all this entertainment with the tabloids and the shows, because they're bound to all, mess up here and there. And even if they don't, the media will pretend they do. And so we'll have so much more to talk about, and it'll be so much fun. So I think this is just to be continued.
Let me just ask you this. Who is your favorite royal, Dov?
I'm going to go for Edward because I've had a personal interaction with him.
Very nice. Very nice. I like that. Okay. Carla, do you have one?
The Queen. Love her. She's just fabulous. She's been doing her thing and she's just fabulous.
Yeah.
What about you? Who's your favorite?
I would actually I'm corny. I'd have to say the Queen too. I just absolutely love her. I think that, she is not just the queen of the country, but she's this matriarch of this family. And as you said, Dov, she hasn't had a lot of luck with her family, and they're like striots and all of that, and keeping everything and everyone together and making those choices and decisions has not been easy for her. And her whole entire life was given over to service. I think that she was very lucky in that she was able to find someone that she loved, and because it could have turned out the other way where she just had to marry. So she was fortunate in that, but her life was not her own, and it hasn't been her own, I mean, I have claim in her life, and I'm like an American Israeli Honduranian, and I'm all up in her business, poor thing. So is there any other question that, Carla, you would like to ask our resident UK royal family suspender wearing? And I love the keeper. Give us a tip forward. Let's see the keeper. I spotted that also.
Nice.
I actually had this made for the Matthew Gould, who was the first British Jewish ambassador to Israel.
Wow.
I had a very good working relationship with him. In fact, on the day of Prince William's wedding, in the morning, logistically, it was a nightmare, but in the morning, he had a big wedding event through the embassy. in Tel Aviv that Ayala and I went to. So we were setting up for this street party. We then had to get changed into our finery, go off to Tel Aviv, come back, get changed again, finish off setting up all before Shabbat. So I had it made for him. And the person that was making it fell ill and couldn't finish it. So I had to have another one commissioned that would get to him in time for his first public engagement as the British ambassador in Israel, which he wore. So I ended up, when she was better, finishing this one. So I thought, you know what? I'll keep it.
Yeah.
Love it. Perfect
Very
accessory.
Nice.
So that's the story behind the kippah.
Very nice.
Love it.
Very nice. I absolutely love it. Well, I want to just thank you guys very much. All your information and thoughts about the royal family. That being said, big fan, love them, hope it works out, and God save the Queen.
Do we go out with a rendition of the national anthem?
You know what? I do. I normally have a little bit of a song, my own little thing, but this particular episode, I will put the starting music and the ending music will be the God Save the Queen.
I think so.
As it should be, you know? And it's been great. Dov, thank you very, very much. Carla,
thank you.
And if you ever want to come back and join and talk about anything else or even this topic again, you're more than welcome. And Carla, it is always a pleasure and fun. Like, good night to everyone. I will end it there.
Good night.